Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the DanJohnUniversity.com podcast. I'm Dan John. Each and every week, I sit down here and answer your questions, and this is episode 289, and we're sneaking right up on episode 300. Listen, if you have questions, just simply email them to us, podcast@DanJohnUniversity.com. I'm happy to answer any questions you send in. We don't have a lot today, but they're good. Our first question is from Andrew. I'm a 34-year-old male who started working out about 6 months ago after a 10-year hiatus. My goal was to lose fat, get stronger, and look good naked. The trifecta of what most people want. Lose fat, get stronger, and look good naked. I have been doing kettlebell workouts while counting calories, good, and maintaining most of the time a calorie deficit, tracking my meals on the Fitbit app. Folks, there's 1,000 sayings. You can't outrun a donut. You can't outrun a bagel. It's true. You got to count calories on the fat loss game. I like the intermittent fasting route because I'm basically, my brain's an off-on switch. Either I'm eating or I'm not eating. But if you are gonna count calories, I like his idea of using some help. And there are so many applications now. The little apps on the phone, they're all good. The kettlebell training led me to your content online, so I signed up and started Easy Strength at the beginning of October. I typically finish the workout with 20-minute walk wearing a 40-pound weight vest. In January, I weighed 205 pounds, and now I weigh 75 pounds. Hey man, that's awesome. 30-pound loss is fabulous, especially the amount of time you took. I'm a believer, whether it's true or not, folks, I don't know. But I think if you lose a pound a month for 4 years, it's better than losing 50 pounds in a month because of some surgery or some other thing. I think that the body fat loss stays off because I think the habits get ingrained. But there's a whole conversation for a dinner sometime. I have since purchased the armor building formula and plan to start the program once I complete the 40 workouts of Easy Strength. If my goal is to get shredded, should I maintain a calorie deficit as long as I've been doing, or increase my food intake during the program? If you want to get shredded, you have to have a calorie deficit. But there's two things I want to bring up right now. First, gentle listener, did you listen to Andrew? Andrew is going to finish a program before he starts a new program. That's just, I'm scared. I'm shuddering here because I just don't hear that very often. So I was at a workshop this weekend. That's why I'm a little tired. I had a long day yesterday. There was a whole bunch of problems in the air with airplanes and airports yesterday. And I spent 12 hours in an airport yesterday and got home really late. But we're talking at this workshop about, and these are all coaches and fitness professionals, how long do most of you stick to a program before you change it? And most people said about 2 weeks. I mean, we're talking about coaches, personal trainers, fitness professionals, and they can only do a program for about 2 weeks. So the fact that you're doing 8 weeks in a program, hats off to you. What you do after Easy Strength, and I think if I could have this perfect world, maybe this beautiful island, this commune with, fresh fruit and, sprints on the beaches, we would do Easy Strength for fat loss for 2 months, and then the armor building formula for 2 months, Easy Strength for fat loss for 2 months, armor building formula. We would gently and kindly nudge that ourselves to fat loss. And I think that's the way to go. The nice thing about calorie control is you've probably already figured out, Andrew, that serving sizes are an issue. That's the most common people find out. Well, you'll get a bottle of something and it'll say 25 calories. And you go, oh, that's awesome. And then you look and it says, there's 10 serving sizes. So it's the normal portion most of us would drink is the 10 serving sizes. I use that chips example all the time, where each serving of chips was only 170 calories, that's not bad. I mean, that's 2.5 Irish whiskeys. That's, I don't know what, 2 apples. And then you realize that the bag had 17 servings of chips. And when you look at the bag, you realize that a serving of chips for 170 calories might be a very flat part of your palm. It's just not very many. You have to count calories, especially here in the United States, because our calorie numbers are so high. I like it when restaurants, fast food places put the number of calories up on the menu, because I look at that and I'm always stunned about the mistakes I've made in my past and how much smarter I get when I see the calories. So yes, you'll need to continue to count calories. I love the idea of doing armor building formula after easy strength for fat loss. And I don't know if you like to fast or not, but somehow find a method that works for you so that you can keep your calorie deficit and train well. I have noticed in my own self, I'm starting to do this thing called protein cycling. Right after I have my big workouts, I try to consume a lot of protein. On a normal day, I consume a little bit less. So, I don't know. This is just an example. It's not right at all, but just listen. So let's just say I should have 100 grams of protein a day. Certain days I'll have 150, and then the following day I'll just have 50. It still works out to 200 grams of protein in 2 days. But I think that little bit of that little staccato really helps keep the body from figuring out to use protein as a fuel source. I know it's really hard for the body to use protein as a fuel source. I don't want to help it do it at all. Andrew, I'm proud of you. Let me know how things go. This is good. Thank you. Okay, next question is from William. And William says, please give your latest thoughts on thrusters. What, if ever, do you recommend them? So my latest thoughts, well, since I haven't thought about them in, 15 years, anything I think right now is my latest thought. I was talking with Matty Ice this weekend, and we were talking about, I'm kind of funny with kettlebells. I have some safety concerns about some exercises with double kettlebells overhead. And we were talking about the thruster, and I thought, I looked over and someone was doing a single side thruster, and I thought, that's kind of a good exercise, because if you have any asymmetries as you accelerate up, and for those who don't know what a thruster is, it's where you do a front squat, but you continue to accelerate through the top and either push press or press the weight to the lockout, overarm lockout overhead. But the single side thruster with a kettlebell really would be one of those nice exercises where you get a chance in real time to see someone's asymmetries or to explore your own. The barbell thruster, I always thought was kind of a fun exercise. I don't do them. I don't recommend them. They're in none of my programs, at least in the last 15 years. I don't see a lot of people doing thrusters anymore, but it might be an ideal way for you to start calling yourself the thruster guy, and pretty soon you'll be seeing your work on network TV as the secret to all training. All right, thank you. Easy answer. Jonathan says this. Now, Jonathan is going to ask about something that I used to call LitviSprints, but now I call them lift and sprints. Very simply, with kettlebells, it works well. The goblet squat works well. The swing works well. And the goblet squats, reps of 8 to 10. The swings, 10 are fine, 15 are fine. And then the moment you finish that last rep, you explode and sprint away. With barbells, the front squat, the overhead squat, and strangely, the deadlift works well. Set of 5 in the deadlift, sprint away. One of the universities I work with for their football program, we came up with a test for them. They do 5 deadlifts. They put, as the bar's coming down, they jump over it, bear crawl for 20 yards, and then sprint for 20 yards. And my thought on that is, you're going to get a matrix out of this. So if you have one athlete deadlifts 700 pounds and finishes, their time is 10 seconds, and you have another athlete who deadlifts 135 pounds and finishes in 10 seconds, I think we all know which one will be a better American football player. So the question is this: Jonathan, I've been rereading Never Let Go, and I'm curious about my current thoughts on LitviSprints with kettlebell swings. I looked around the internet, but only found some threads from long ago. Do you still like the LitviSprints with kettlebell swings in the 30 rep range? I don't know if I said 30, okay, that's a lot. But kettlebell swings, 10 to 15 reps, followed by a swing, I still like. Or have any other ideas of kettlebells for this application? Yeah, so Jonathan, I still think it's a grand idea. I think there's great value to it. The thing about lift and sprints is you should do it for a total of 3 rounds. If you feel like doing more, then you either really underloaded your weights, your kettlebells, your barbells, or your intensity. It really is a shock to the system. But I tell you, for American football, for rugby, for collision occupations and sports, and for throwing, it's one of the best things you can do. I was shocked how much it carried over into my distance on the throws, to the point that I even began to wonder late in my career why I did any squats in the gym at all. Every squat should have been out, out in the back there, throwing down overhead squats or front squats or goblet squats, and just, digging in and taking off. Big fan of them, Jonathan. But what the hardest thing for most of our listeners is going to be, it's all about the quality. And you can't just enjoy having all those mindless reps. Okay, thank you. Thomas asked a question, and I need a little bit of a follow-up from Thomas, but let's answer it this way. What are your thoughts on a once-weekly hypertrophy program for an experienced lifter chasing general hypertrophy mobility? Would DeLorme numbers be enough? Yeah, the DeLorme numbers, just as an example, folks. First week would be 3 sets of 8. Second week, 3 sets of 10. Third week, 3 sets of 12. Obviously, there's some other formulas I use. I discuss it probably in every single book I've ever written. I talk about Tom DeLorme and progressive resistance exercise. My question for you, Thomas, were you saying that, okay, say you're lifting 3 days a week, you have an Olympic lifting day and another Olympic lifting day, and the third day is hypertrophy? Because I think that is one of the best ways you can train. For those of you like you're doing Wendler's 5-3-1, Monday you would do military press and deadlift. Wednesday's your squat bench day, and Friday or Saturday you train like a bodybuilder. I think that is repeatable. I think it's doable. I think it's fun, and so I'm a big fan. Now, if you're asking if you just did one workout a week, now that's interesting. I've had a lot of people ask me about the armor building formula in a 2-day week pattern, and I mean, at first I thought, no, now. So I started experimenting with it. I'm still in the middle of it right now. I should have something written about it soon, I hope. But doing a high rep press day and another day where you do the armor building complex or something along those lines with the barbell family, I gotta tell you, it works, especially if you make a commitment to walking the other days of the week. You're saying, if you are saying just 1 day a week, Thomas, I'll just say this. It's better than nothing. And oddly, if you do stay active the other days and you keep a handle on your calories, it might actually work fairly well. I can't really comment on it as much as I'd like to because I've never done this. But for those of you who do train 3 days a week or 2 days, if you were to, that's actually an interesting idea too. 1 day a week would you be your power day, Olympic lifts, power lifts, and the other day your bodybuilding day. Again, I've never done it, but there's something in my mind saying, that's a really good idea. So, Thomas, if I had 2 answers for your question because I'm a little confused, but my thought is I think there's great value in doing what you're going to do. And folks, if you can mix your hypertrophy hypertrophy weightlifting with mobility work. Sometimes here at the gym, we'll do a press followed by a mobility movement, and then the next press and another mobility movement. In this book here, the Kettlebell Workout Companion, I have a number of programs in there with kettlebells where you mix the strength movement followed by mobility, swings followed by mobility, and I love it. So it's very good. Yeah, I guess you just have to do it. Okay, thank you, and let me know how it goes. Okay, we got a question from Weston, and Weston probably is in a situation that many of us find ourselves in. He says this: what advice would you give someone who struggles listening to their mind over their body? I have a tendency to listen to my mind instead of my body when it comes to working out. This usually causes me to overdo it with training and forces me to take a step back to reevaluate my structure. I am early 30s and I find that I am constantly battling my ailments with my body while my mind is telling me to push more and more with my workouts. I go back and forth in my mind, wonder if I'm lacking recovery or I should listen to my body and hit the brakes. That's what I want to address. As a follow-up, I used to be very fit and could do multiple pull-ups, but over the years, I have lost the ability to do more than one or two sloppy pull-ups. My body weight, and this is important, listen to this, has not changed during this time. Could this be related to pushing myself too hard for too long? So, love or hate Covert Bailey's books, Fit or Fat from the 70s and I guess early 80s. The one thing I did like about him is he always talked about this guy who weighed 170 in college, and 25 years later he still weighs 170, and he brags that he's never changed body weight. But in his collegiate 170, he had barnyard wide shoulders, and he had plates of pectorals and 8-pack abs, and now he's got a pooch belly, but he weighs the same. Well, what's happening on the inside is that his muscles over time have atrophied and have been replaced very happily by the body with fat. So on the scale, he weighs the same amount, but his body composition is radically different. And Weston, I'm wondering if that's what's happening to you. So what can happen with overtraining for some people, because you're not, you're burning the candle at both ends, is that you do begin to, it's weird to think that you can train yourself into obesity, but it can happen because if you're constantly overtrained, one of the things we do to placate our, what's going on here? We got to get some food in this, is to shovel more cheap carbs down or whatever it is. One thing I would recommend to you and every listener is I'd like to see you organize your recovery plan. The great Canadian sprint coach Charlie Francis, who went away too young, the thing I pulled away from the workshop most from him was how rigorously he planned the recovery sessions. Now, right next to me here, I have my sauna. So most mornings I sauna and I do mobility to start my day. That's kind of my I'm trying to recover from a lot of things. 3 days a week now, I have organized mobility days, and I try to sprinkle them on the days after I train hard. I train hard now as I'm speaking, Sunday night and Thursday night. So the next days, in both cases, I try to do extra mobility work, extra original strength work, I do these kind of weird march in place and skips and stuff like that. Someone said it was plyos one time. I looked at it. Those aren't plyometrics. It's me doing cross crawls on the street. I would like to see you plan a recovery program. I think planning proper recovery, it can be hot baths, it can be just cold showers if that's all you have. It can be dedicated foam rolling, and if you don't have a foam roller, dedicated lacrosse ball or golf ball rolling or whatever it is, or just like me, just general mobility work. I got to tell you folks, I have underappreciated a good soak in a hot bath for years. I started doing this again recently, and For one thing, you get great reading in a hot bath. Calgon, take me away. But I would really like to know what you're overdoing it on. You've said that in the thing, but I'd like to know. I don't get a lot of texts from people saying, every single day I just can't. I put my body weight on the squat bar, and I do 50 to 100 reps in one set every day. I'm doing that 4 days a week, and I think I'm overtraining. I don't ever hear those. I think what a lot of people do is garbage junk volume in their training, and that not only does it hurt their performance, but I also think it really starts to dig in to your ability to recover. And we are all held back by our ability to recover. And I've learned, like many coaches, the great Tommy Cohn, one of his books right there, it's better to come in a little bit undertrained than it is to come in at all overtrained. And so, Weston, I want you to get your journals out, look at your workouts, look to see what you can eliminate from your program. Oh, and there's another thing. What program are you on? What does your coach say? What does your trainer say? What are the fitness professionals you work with saying? Because if you don't have a program, you don't have a coach, a trainer, a community of some kind to help support you, then you're just doing more work. Get yourself into a program, stick it out, finish it. If it's a 16-week program, do all 16 weeks. And I'd be interested to see how you're doing at the end of following a program. So I gave you a lot of ideas kind of in a shotgun blast, but I think that's pretty good for now. Okay, thank you. Ben writes a lot here. He says, Ben, my name is Ben, and I have been hitting the kettlebells hard for 2 years, and a lot of it because of your Easy Strength Omni book and my new favorite, the Armor Building Complex. I am 31 years old and happy with current fitness level because of these programs. Hey, thank you so much. I have a variety of kettlebells available, weight vest, bands, pull-up, and dip bar. That's a good home gym. Question, I am an avid competitor shooter, a pistol and rifle, and it requires a lot of quick bursts of maximum effort, followed by quick stops to shoot and then take off again. At most, the stages may last a minute or two. A match might require me to shoot 6 to 10 stages, depending on the level of the match. This winter, I am wanting to add into my current yearly training plan some type of exercise to improve my performance. After easy strength, I have included the goblet squat, hold, followed by a sprint, because I've heard you speak about that. I like that, kind of like our lift and sprints. Nice. Also, I've added in a good amount of high rep swings to help with cardio. I currently do sports-specific training 5 to 6 days a week in the form of movement drills and weapon manipulations. Wow. This is not a sport I'm familiar with, obviously, but I love the idea of you doing, and so what we can get out of the weight room for you is we can get you stronger, okay? So easy strength and that family of things is going to help a lot. Let me double check this. And I'm going to tell you, I can't make things any simpler than this, but I would suggest the armor building formula for 2 months. Easy strength followed by some kind of conditioning. Walking might be fine. You said quick stops to shoot and take off again. So, I mean, if you have to run, if you need running, I mean, easy strength followed by sprints. It used to be called in the Swedish fartlek speed play, where you do a sprint up a hill, you walk, you jog, you chase a frisbee, and you just kind of go naturally with various speeds and intensity levels. I think easy strength, if this is what you need, followed by fartlek training a couple days a week. You might make a rule like anytime you come to a hill, you have to sprint a hill. Anytime you come to a grassy green area, you have to walk and enjoy it. Make up some other rule like, I don't know, if you see a cat, you have to sprint. I don't know, something like that. Just kind of have this nice non-rhythmic training where you practice going fast, ease up, go fast, ease up. I think it'd be a great idea for you. I think you can improve any sports performance through weightlifting. And I think in the great tradition, something I call easy strength is the answer. You lift, you get in the gym, you never miss, you never get close to missing, and you keep nudging the loads up over time until one day you wake up and you're extremely strong, but you're still doing phenomenal in your sport. Fun question, and I hope that helped. Jorge writes us, and he says, I'm a 31-year-old living in Colorado, training in my basement with kettlebells. I've built a nice collection, and a barbell with plates. My goals are to get stronger and build muscle. I have 2 questions for you. Which one or 2 of your books would you recommend to someone wanting to learn more about your training philosophy and programming principles? Additionally, are there 1 or 2 of your online courses you suggest for learning how to program effectively? I'd like to design programs for myself, my wife, as well as guide my parents in their late 50s or resistance training at home. My wife and I work out together, and my parents have access to kettlebells and recently started cycling. Dad has knee injuries, so squats might be out. Okay, let's go real quick. I have a book called Intervention. It's about a decade old now, but it is how I talk to normal people. The 3 books on coaching that I like and that are very popular, well, or were anywhere at the collegiate level, Intervention, Can You Go, and Now What? Those 3 are like my teaching coaching books. Now, on top of that, you could also read 40 Years with the Whistle. It's my I hate to call it an autobiography, but it's all the stuff I learned from my mentors. So Intervention when in doubt. The next book is this one here. It's only available on Amazon, The Kettlebell Workout Companion. And in this book, I go through all the kettlebell things and I outline and I show you how I put together training programs, okay? Now, I don't do a great job in the book saying why do this and why do that, but I give you some templates to look at. In my books, in the past, I wasn't very good at it because I always thought it was so obvious to everybody. But so Intervention, Can You Go, Now What? I would say Intervention number 1 on those. The other 2 will help you out. But I also have one other book only available on the bookstore, Easy Strength Omni Book. It's available at danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore. And I go in a lot of depth in programming in that book. Now, obviously it's an easy strength book, but I think the general principles apply to everything too. Second question. Since I train at home, I can't fail lifts or drop weights without risking damage to my floors. Yeah, I know that feeling. What barbell movements do you think are best under these conditions? My current plan includes Romanian deadlifts, overhead presses, front squats or back squats, and for ballistic hinging, swings, snatches, and cleans. And then he asks if that's reasonable. That's like the most reasonable thing I've read in years. I mean, I love that. I mean, folks, listen to this. He's doing Romanian deadlifts. Let's just say you did Romanian deadlift, front squat, and overhead press. Boom. That is a marvelous series of big 3 exercises. And then you do the ballistic swings and snatches and cleans. Yeah, you're never going to make a lot of noise, but you're going to get deadly strong and feel good and look good and all the rest. Easy Strength Omni book's going to help you, but your insights and wisdom put you far ahead of the pack, my friend. Good work here. Thank you. Well, our last question. Ollie asked this. I do martial arts and I'm thinking about to start Easy Strength. I haven't bought your ebook yet. And so far, I've only got an idea of Easy Strength from the podcast. If I've understood correctly, I train my strength every day or 5 times a week, right? Now my question, aside from wanting to get stronger, I also have other physical goals like a handstand or the splits. Do you think that training for these goals can be incorporated, yes, into the Easy Strength formula so that I do handstands or the splits every day, yes, or multiple times a day, just like I do my strength training every day? I'm worried that training will be then too time consuming because I'm trying to do everything in one day, or is the formula a little bit of every day still right? I've been training for a long time, but I always have a problem of having too many goals, which is why I asked myself whether easy strength could be an answer. I look forward to your thoughts. I hope everything is easy to understand. And then he also mentions that he had to use Google Translate to ask some of the questions, which is great. And I do have a lot of non-English speaking listeners and readers. And I know weightlifting is tough because there's so many weird words we use. On the handstands and the splits, I know from my own experience in doing the splits that a little bit, as often as you can, every day is the best way to train that. Again, don't ever push too hard. Take your time. Be reasonable. And it's practice, practice, practice. My friend Brian is a very good handstand artist, and his secret was to do them every day quite a bit. So yeah, Ollie, it ties right in to the easy strength protocols. So I love the idea. If you decide to do something like easy strength, it's like you do in the standard 5 days a week, at the end of the lifting session, you might want to do the splits and some practice handstands and maybe dose another round of the split and the handstand each and every day. So every day, twice a day, just a little bit. Some days it's one handstand. Some days it's an hour and a half of handstands. But just dose it and just let yourself kind of go and feel good and like it. And what we're going to ask you to do, Ollie, is kind of just gently over time nudge yourself into that splits. I want you to nudge yourself into that handstand. And I got to tell you, if you get a chance, Easy Strength Omnibook might really be helpful for you. Reminder, danjohnuniversity.com/bookstore, Easy Strength Omnibook. Thank you. Ollie, I love this idea. And if you get a chance, take a video of the splits and the handstand when you get them. I'd like to see that, okay? Thanks so much. Well, there you go, folks. I knew today would be a short one because there wasn't a lot of questions, and the questions I thought were all good questions. And the answers were very, I kind of snipered the answers because sometimes it's nice to have a yes, no, on, off question. Great stuff. Remember, if you have a question, send them here to us at the podcast at danjohnuniversity.com. I do my best to answer each and every one. And remember, until next time, let's all keep on lifting and learning. Thank you.